crafters. Today's video is just kind of like a video vlog of showing how I made a copy of these shorts. These are my Star Wars pajama shorts. I'm pretty sure they might be a men's. I don't know. I lost the tag a long time ago, but they are also the comfiest pajama shorts I've ever worn and I love. The only problem is that they're a thin fabric and there's only one pair of them and I want more pairs. I decided to use this Star Wars flannel that mum and dad had gotten me a while ago to try and replicate these shorts. I also have other varieties of Star Wars flannel that I want to make pajama pants out of, but I thought it would be easier to start with the shorts first. I did record everything as I went through it, but I thought I should give you I'm not sure how great of a thing I did of it. For at least the start of this project, you can see here the shorts when they're lying flat and the fabric that I want to use compared. And I also managed to get a roll of butcher paper just from the kids section. It's a lot cheaper buying butcher paper down the other end that doesn't come on. And it was all the nice to use. You shouldn't use kind of stretchy fabric to paper because at the start here I pinned it down, but I gave up on pinning. The material's kind of stretchy, and also the band made it even I was stretching it out to make the right size and adding I think ½ an inch of seam allowance all along it for my first mock-up. Cutting it out with my trusty paper scissors because you never use fabric scissors on paper. Okay, now I'm just doing the other side. I made sure to label the patterns as I went through for the center front, the side, and if it was the front or the back panel. Just to make my life easier all around so I didn't have to remember, even though they are pretty different. Also, you never know, I might pick it back up in 6 months and be like, what the hell did I do? Here again, I'm just adding the seam allowance for the front half of it and cutting it all out. So I did make a mock-up with just this green fabric with a slight floral pattern on it. I've had it sitting around for a long time. At one stage, I made a dress out of it that I have 2 very blurry pictures of. The dress was cut up. I also used it to make panels on a Game of Thrones dress. It lasted about 24 hours and I don't have enough of it to really do anything with, so I decided to make the shorts with it. You can see I've given up on the pins and I'm just using a hammer and 2 staplers as weights. I'm just really going through and cutting out 2 of each piece. I didn't bother about the grains or the weave when it came to cutting this out because it was a mock-up, but generally that's something you should probably pay attention to if you're not Cassie. This piece is a panel from the actual Game of Thrones dress that I made that lasted maybe 24 hours at work one day back in 2014 or something, just because I ran out of the fabric itself. It just meant that I had an extra seam on my side seam here, but that doesn't really matter because it's totally by design, even though it's only on one bit. By design, guys. I pinned all my center seams together. The other issue is that I also pinned the leg center seams together, which are meant to attach to the front and back, not to the left and right. And I don't realize this until, well, you'll see it in the thing. I kind of finished sewing one and look at it a little weird because I'm like, what did I do wrong? And then I sewed the second one together and I was like, oh, this is very wrong. But it was just a matter of unstitching it using, well, I should have used Jack the Ripper, but I was way too lazy for that, and instead I decided to use a shitty pair of scissors. Just if there is not a seam ripper next to me when I need it, sometimes I will just reach for scissors or pins because I'm lazy, and it was just a little seam that I did on both of them. I think I also had the stitches a bit bigger for the mock-up just so it would help, and I had the matching thread because it's the same sort of colour as the Slytherin skirt I made, and also I'm pretty sure I used the same thread when I made the skirt, the dress which I'm going to turn into a skirt, from this fabric. I didn't do a great shot of getting the video next, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about when I'm wearing these. Okay, so I did finish the mock-up. I've worn them around a bit. They need to be higher at the top, a little extra here. The sides need to be longer, and I feel like I need to add a little bit of length at the bottom so I can actually hem them. I started altering the pattern, chose the pattern out, and now I'm altering it, but I ran out of stuff, so I'm dropping this by at least 1.5 inches, and then 1/2 inch down here. I think the inside seam seems to be fine, if not a little bit bulky on the front, not on the back. I like this original curve shape. I'm going to live by 1/2 inch here and at least 1 inch in the middle. Like the inch in the middle needs minimum of 1 inch. I'm going to add another 1/2 inch all the way across for the band and the hem. That looks alright for the top. You can really see that it's been lengthened and heightened. I think that should work. Plus, once it's big, you can always like take it down. So next, I'll do the front. I could have just taken apart my mock-up to do this, but I didn't feel like it. And because it was just a matter of adding and taking away bulk in different places, I wasn't too fussed on actually taking it apart to update the pattern. Plus, now I have an extra pair of shorts should I need them. One thing that I did realize when doing the mock-up that is, I'm so happy I realized before I got to the actual one, is that I had to change my tension on my machine for when I was sewing through the elastic. So I normally sew with it on about a 3 tension, but I had to take it more towards the 4 so that I could do it. At the moment, I have the fabric double-sided and I'm just cutting out the new pattern because I didn't want to make another mock-up. And anything that I could change, because I made it that bit bigger, I could just take away. So I really just cut it all out and pinned it together, just the center, front and back, that is. And I didn't do the leg center seam this time. I did leave a little bit of the selvage in the crotch area where all the seams meet because I needed to, really, but also it didn't matter because it doesn't show up on the actual shorts. Here I'm just measuring my elastic and cutting it to the size. I did have to take it down, and I wish I used a stronger elastic, because even though this elastic's pretty, it's not very strong, and I can see why the other one the original has a drawstring elastic in it, so if I was to make it again, I would get more drawstring elastic, because I've only got like 5 inches of it at the moment. Here I'm just pinning the sides together and the leg seams so that I can sew them down. When I sewed down the leg seam, I jumped over where the 2 center seams meet, and I didn't sew either of those down, just so that if I need to take it apart, it would be easier. And also then I could decide what I was doing with the extra seam allowance, and I was planning to overlock this, which I did off camera, because the original was overlocked and there was no point in me finishing the seams on something that is flannel. Overlocking it was the best option. Sadly, the overlocker and I are not friends, but it worked anyway. I'm just joining the band together with a heap of zigzag stitches and different stitches so that there wasn't too much bulk. And I pinned the center front and the center back together, then the sides together. This is just me trying it on at the moment. Do these look doggy at this height? Yeah, but they're pajama shorts. So, I feel like I've got that little bit of extra room. Just not sure about how they're falling here. There might still be too much bulk at that seam. Yeah, I need to take a little bit more bulk out of here, and it should be fun. Okay, I'm gonna go show Mum. This is 1 inch too long. I need to remove a bit of bulk from the center front and then bulk from either side at the bottom. The top flare's fine, it's just this flare out at the bottom that's a little too much. All I did was go through, I was just going to sew over top of it, but I think I seam ripped it with the same pair of terrible little scissors because I was too lazy, and tried to mirror how much I took off on the other leg. I think the reason that there was so much bulk at the center front is because A, it's a men's shorts, and B, because of the stretch fabric, that would have just stretched to allow it, whereas being a flannel, it didn't have any stretch to it, so I have to make it at its biggest size so it fits properly. Again, I wish I took more out of the actual elastic, or one day I might do drawstrings through it and cut it through, because it sits on my waist now, but if I lose any weight, it's not going to sit, and it's going to be a pain in my butt. Or I could just cut it out and replace it with a drawstring elastic. Who knows? Oh, you can see here that all the seams have been overlocked, so I was just re-sewing up one bit where I overlocked a little too much, and I'm actually sewing in the elastic now. I used a straight stretch stitch along probably 1/4 inch from the bottom and a bit less than 1/4 inch along the top, just so it stayed in place, because I hate nothing more than elastic that moves and twists. Just sew down the elastic and it saves everyone time. I did make sure I stretched it out completely before sewing it. And you can see here me doing a little chicken dance to show off how it fits at a terrible angle. But they aren't the most flattering shorts I own. They are definitely pajama shorts. I wore them out the other day because they're that flannel. They've got a nice thickness and a weight to them that I'm not self-conscious about wearing them, because I added the extra height and depth. I don't have to worry about anything unseemly happening there, because I do have a bit of a taller torso, because I am tall. I haven't bothered to hem the bottom yet. I probably could and should, but for now having the overlocked seam is good enough. I will get around to it one day. I just don't feel the need to add the bulk there at the moment. And again, they're pajama shorts. They're kind of like flannel boxer shorts, and they're comfy as, they're warm, and I'm happy with them. So I'm happy with the end result. It was a real learning curve trying to duplicate an already existing garment, and I've learned to never do it with a stretch fabric ever again unless it's going to be in another stretch fabric, and it's probably best to cut it up when it's a stretch fabric, just because it's a pain in the ass to do. I want to replicate the pajama pants I'm wearing right now. I have like 3 different pairs of them already though, so I'm not too stressed on it. But when I get around to that, that will probably be one of the next things that I replicate, just so like I learn how to do a pant even though it's a pajama pant and no one sees it. The other thing I want to replicate is a shirt of Mum's, but it's out of a sheer fabric, and it's not stretched at all. So I feel like that should be okay. But yeah, really, that was me replicating a pair of shorts. A pair of my favourite pajama shorts. And I got 2 pairs of shorts out of it. The green pair I probably wouldn't wear until I absolutely have to, or if I'm real lazy and the only one home. But the final pair I'm fine with walking around home in whenever I want. Yes, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today, and I'll see you next week. Bye!